Josh here, Wargaming Noob Historical, back with another read-through review. This time around, we are doing Black Powder Albion Triumphant Volume 1. Now, if you are new to Black Powder and you're looking to get beyond the core rulebook and some of the historical scenarios that were included in there, and you want to play some of the most iconic conflicts during the Napoleonic Wars or in the Black Powder era, you can't go wrong with going with Black Powder's Albion Triumphant Volume 1, especially if you are a fan of Sharp and anything that has to do with the Peninsular campaign. This is the book for you. In this book, we're just going to go through a quick review of what's included here. I'm not going to go in depth on the information that is available, but we will have an overview of what you can find in comparison to some of the other books, some of the other campaign books that are for Black Powder. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, wonderful cover here. You have a British soldier here with the flag and some of the painted figures from the Warlord game studio. Some wonderful depictions of the Warlord miniatures painted. And then the folks that have written this book, this was written by Adrian McWalter, based on the game Black Powder, obviously written by Rick Priestley and Jervis Johnson. So we're going to move on to the next page. You're going to have your introduction, and then moving on to the meat and potatoes of the book itself is the contents. I'll zoom in just a little bit here. So the book is broken down by several sections. The first part is an overview of Napoleonic warfare. You're going to learn a little bit about the historical way warfare was conducted during this period. You're going to have some information of figures in this specific time period, as well as just a timeline of the Peninsular campaign. It then moves on to breakdowns of the major battles of that period, like the Battle of Vimero, Talavera, Fuentes de Onoro, Salamanca, etc. Then move on to the armies of the Peninsular War. So these are the armies of the nations that were involved in this particular portion of the conflict. You have Great Britain, the Kingdom of Portugal, the Spanish, Imperial France, and the French allies, and then a little breakdown of the French column versus British line, and of course the superstars of the campaign, the main characters of this story, commanders of the Peninsular War, which includes Arthur Wesley, Thomas Picton, Robert Crawford, Jean and Junot, Andres Massena, Horace Francois Bastien. And then rounding out the book itself are the scenario games: the Battle of Rolica, the Battle of Grania, de la Abundancia. I'm sorry, my Spanish isn't that great. The Defense of Ciudad Española, Battle of Salamanca, and then finishing off the book, you have your army list if you're going to play via points. So we're going to move on. So again, you're going to have an overview of Napoleonic warfare. This just gives you the information on how warfare was fought during this period. Again, some wonderful artwork here. What's nice is this breakdown about how the armies of this period were structured, and then they equate it to what your figures would look like if you break them down by, in this case, a division. And it gives you all that information there. So better information on line, square, mixed order cavalry, as well as artillery here. And then you're going to have some information on the Grand Old Duke of York. This is Prince Frederick Augustus, Duke of York and Albany. And then just some historical information on him. Again, more historical information. Then you have kind of like the build-up, some background information on the build-up on how the Spanish conflict became part of the overall Napoleonic War. Just some more information. Nice image of a red coat, or the peninsular uniform for the British. Again, some wonderful closer look at some of the figures, as well as some of the terrain that you can get inspiration from when building up your tables for Black Powder for this campaign. And then you get to the background information for the battles. So this is the Battle of Vimero, 1808. Gives you a map and the order of battle and all that fun stuff. There you go. And the Battle of Talavera. And again, it'll just give you more information, historical information on that, as well as the order of battle. Battle of Fuentes de Honoro. And we'll just zip through this. Again, these are all going to be broken down in a similar way. This kind of gives you also the order of battle for these battles. It gives you like a way to build up your brigades or your divisions to have something more of a historical flavor for your games. Battle of Salamanca. Order of battle for that. And now we get to the bigger meat and potatoes of this book, The Armies of the Peninsular War. Just going to give you some background information on each of the nation's armies and forces deployed in Spain and Portugal during this period. Also, the special rules. So let me zoom out just a little bit so we can get a taste of what's going on here. You have your British infantry special rules: steady line, cannot form attack column, rifle mixed formation must form a square. And a lot of this refers back to the core rule book, so there'll be pages listed there for where you can reference that information. So here we go for this is the foot guards, the information for the foot guards, their stats, as well as like some of the information, the special rules that are included for the foot guards. So there are the stats for the line infantry, foot regiments, and then the Highland and light infantries. And then if you are a fan of Sharp and the books and TV series and miniseries, then you'll have your information for riflemen right there, including a little blurb about the Brown Bess musket. Then you have the Chasseurs Britanniques, as well as the Battalion of Detachments. And then we move on to the cavalry, light dragoons and hussars, Royal Horse Artillery, and then information on the King's German Legion, the Black Brunswickers. Those are the stats right there. And now we move on to the Kingdom of Portugal. This gives you a little blurb, historical blurb on how they are the oldest allies of the British. You have your order of battle as well. Let me zoom in just a little bit for this. Okay. So we'll zoom out for the stats here. There's your line infantry stats, your light infantry stats, the Portuguese cavalry. And now we move on to the Spanish. So the guerrillas. You have the guard, line infantry stats there. You also have your light infantry stats and your militia. You have the stats for the guerrillas, as well as the cavalry. Your artillery. And then we move on to the French themselves. Again, there's going to be a lot of information on the French since they are the main, I guess, antagonists during this particular campaign. I'm sure the French would not see it that way, but there's your French special infantry rules. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Pas de charge. French infantry and attack column formation become reliable. Then you have your mixed formation and must form square rules that are referencing back to the Black Powder rulebook. Zoom back out here. All right, your guard infantry and their stats. This is for the young guard. And again, the line infantry and the light infantry. The combined grenadiers and voltigeurs, as you'll see right there. Then move on to the French cavalry, which have a special rule of dismounted dragoons. There's the cavalry of the guard, the chasseurs à cheval de la garde, impérial, and Mamluks. That's a mouthful. The chevaux légers, lanciers de la garde impériale. And then you have your dragoons, French light cavalry, the French artillery, That's foot and horse. And then we move on to the French allies. So there's information there. So first off is the Kingdom of Italy, the Kingdom of Naples, the Confederation of the Rhine and Vistula Legion. You'll see the stats for the Vistula Legion there. We'll zoom in just a little bit. All right. And then a comparison of French column versus the British line. Just some information on that. And then we move on to the commanders of the Peninsular War. There's Sir Arthur Wellesley, who will become the Duke of Wellington during this period. He has his special rules. Wellington has a command rating of 9. He is decisive. That's referenced on page 95 of Black Powder. He has +1 to any combat that he is involved in where his force charged. He has +3 attacks in any combat that he is involved in if his side is defending. And he has a special rule. The French are going to get a devil of a surprise when they see how I defend a position. Wellington can choose which side of the table to fight during an encounter battle. All right. Next up, we have Major General Sir Thomas Picton. Special rules are he has a command rating of 8. He is decisive. Has a special rule, come on you damn rascals, come on you fighting villains. One battalion in his division can re-roll a failed break test if they had the Valiant rule, and that's on page 95 of Black Powder. Then you have Major General Robert Crawford, who has a command rating of 8. He is classed as having high independence as a personal quality. That's on page 95 of Black Powder. He has +1 attack to any combat he is involved in. He has a special rule, Epic March. Troops under his command may make a free move before start of the battle. All right, moving on to the French. You have Jean-Andoche Junot. He has a command rating of 8. Adds +1 attack to any combat that he is involved in. Has a special rule, battle injury. You must roll on the personal qualities of commander's chart, page 94 in Black Powder, each turn. Marshal Andre Massena. Massena has a command rating of 9. He has high independence as a personal quality. He has +2 attacks to any combat he is involved in. He has a special rule, Dear Child of Victory. All troops under his command defending buildings gain the special rule, Tough Fighters. That's on page 92 of Black Powder. Next we have Horace Francois Bastien Sebastiani de la Porta. That's a lot to say. Command rating of 8. He adds no attacks to any combat he is involved in. He has a special rule, General Surprise. His opponent can choose whether to go first or second. At playing a pointed game, however, Sebastiani can reduce the number of points the enemies gain from him by d6 times 10. All right, scenario games. So this is we're going to be pretty much rounding out the book here. This will give you the major battles of this period and the setup, terrain, all that fun stuff. Your orders of battle, optional rules. And we'll just flip through these really quick. Also gives you information on how it actually played out when they played this game or this scenario. More information. Again, the next battle here. And we'll just flip through this really quick. Again, these are scenarios that are included for this period and of the Peninsular War. Okay, lastly, as part of the book itself are your points. So this will give you information on how everything is costed if you are playing points for Black Powder rather than by division or brigade or whatnot. If you want to get more granular and kind of even it out in your gameplay, they'll give you, again, the stats for the units, as well as special rules. And then it'll give you your points. Let me bring this closer. So you'll have all your stats and armament, all that fun stuff, specials, and then the points obviously are right here at the end. At the bottom here, all British, Portuguese, and Brunswick infantry have the special rule steady line. First fire cannot form attack column, mixed formation must form square, and can form skirmish in terrain they could not normally enter. All right. Some more British stats. And then we go on to the artillery. You can field half batteries rather than full batteries. That does lower the stats of your batteries. Then you have your information on your cavalry. And then a breakdown of the infantry brigades. We'll bring this out a little bit. And then we move on to the French. Again, all the points for each unit. Again, half battery. The French have combined grenadiers and combined voltigeur formations. And of course, the special rules are right here. Then your breakdown of the brigades and all that stuff. There's the Spanish. Same layout. And that is it. That is Black Powder Albion Triumphant Volume 1. This is a great way to get more historical flavor in your Black Powder gameplay, whether you're going to be doing a full campaign or recreating specific battles that are of this period of the conflict. It's a great way to expand upon your gameplay for Black Powder. So in any case, if you like this video, go ahead and click like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I appreciate it if you would. Click the bell notification icon to get notified of all new read-through reviews coming out of the channel. And then click the link in the description below to join our Discord server. That is the best way I can personally interact with you and chit-chat you about Black Powder and any other game that we cover on the channel. That's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more read-through review from Wargaming Noob Historical.